All right, hey Facebook, we're back again for the second time today, and there's a good reason why. Right now we've got a pretty good storm out there.
Right, so it's not severe warned right now, but we are watching it. It has this nice hail core with it, and it is likely producing some pea up to nickel size hail over Real, Bandera, and into Kerr County.
Yeah. And it's moving off towards Kerr County right now, so you can kind of see it there on radar. Kind of moving just along the Bandera-Kerr County line. If you want to zoom into that, Megan. There it is. Yeah, it's right there, the pink spot that you see in there. That's the spot where we think there could be a little bit more in the way of hail. So that's going to be moving into Bandera County. And it's moving off to the east right now along Highway 83. It will be heading towards Highway 16 and probably pass just between Bandera and Kerrville.
Right, so looking at this, we are going to see a lot of lightning with this as well. Let's see if we could track it here. So there's all the lightning and the number of strikes being 36. So producing a lot of cloud to ground lightning there. And
let me actually pull this up again. Let's back it up real quick. There you can see where it's moving in, right there along Bandera-Kerr County. You know, we just had it on that. We just had it on the full camera on accident there, but there it is actually showing the graphic and the rain moving through. The heaviest of the rain, again, just south of Highway 39, just past 83, and it's moving towards Highway 16. So that's where we're seeing kind of the heavier rain move through at the moment.
Right, and they do have a significant weather advisory for Bandera and Kerr counties through 2 p.m. today. We're really just watching this storm because it could produce up to nickel-size hail. So not quite up to that severe limit, which happens to be quarter-size hail, which is up to 1 inch in diameter.
Yeah, and there you see a lot of lightning associated with it. That's another reason to go inside. So if you're in Bandera or Kerrville, this storm is producing a lot of lightning. There it is, 38 lightning strikes in the past 15 minutes. So a pretty electric storm. We also have the hail associated with it. Another good reason to go ahead and stay out of the way of this. It's not severe warned yet, but there is the possibility of it becoming severe warned. If it does continue to intensify, there you see at I-10 and Loop 1604, the road is already wet here in San Antonio. This system, not necessarily heading towards San Antonio yet, no concern there. Just some regular showers. So if you're watching the looping traffic cams down there, that's just to let you know, hey, what roads around the city are currently damp.
And something to point out, and we were looking at this, and I want to go back to radar and kind of looping this through the lightning strikes is the lightning strikes are occurring miles outside of the core of this storm. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're in Bandera and you're looking northwest, it is possible that maybe you're hearing thunder and you're probably seeing a lot of cloud to ground lightning. So that's something that's giving you that heads up, hey, we have a storm on the way, and so it's best to go inside. But again, not severe warned, and let's go ahead and look at the hail tracker on this. It's showing some really bright blues there, showing nickel-size hail and mostly looking at pea-size hail. So that's not going to cause any damage, but we are keeping our eyes on it. We have a lot of commenters too, don't we?
Yeah, we have, Dale says there's rain on the north side of San Antonio. We just saw that a moment ago at I-10 and 1604. They are experiencing a little bit of rain there on the northwest side as well as on the north side. Some people saying no rain where they are yet. We don't have very widespread rain. If we zoom out, you can see not everybody's seeing rain. And remember, we only had a 60% chance for rain in today. And you see a lot of people have seen rain already, stretching from Gonzales to Cuero to Victoria, New Braunfels. They saw a little bit of rain over towards Hondo earlier, and now you see up towards Kerrville and Bandera County, Kerr and Bandera County.
And I think one thing to point out is there's no severe thunderstorm watch. We do have that marginal risk in place, that level 1 on a 1 to 5 scale. That just means, hey, some isolated strong to severe storms will be possible today. And we had mentioned in our Facebook Live this morning, right around 10:30, primary threats today, quarter-size hail, and also strong wind gusts, and can't rule out some pockets of blinding rain. So storms like this producing, that heavy rainfall, and I'm actually going to talk about radar today in our weather minds, so we'll talk about the colors of radar, but it shows the intensity of the rain falling, and that could cause some localized flooding in some spots.
Yeah, and I actually want to also bring in another graphic here that kind of shows us some of the tower cams around the area. You see some dark clouds there in some spots over San Antonio. And I'd love for us to be able to also get a look around the city. So just hold tight with us.
So while you're doing that, I'm going to look at some of these questions and commenters. Hey guys, happy Monday. Hello to you. Connie Ann, hello from Floresville. Hello from Floresville. Hello. We're getting a lot of hellos here.
Yeah. There's one of the spots. That's from the top of Kent's 5 here on the northwest side near the medical center. There you see a little bit of rain, it looks like, maybe even outside our front door at the moment. Looking out towards the airport, not much of an issue there. You see planes still moving on the tarmac, not seeing much of an issue. Calaveras Lake, some low-hanging dark clouds, but nothing too much of an issue there. But some of these traffic cams that you're seeing just below us here are showing some really gloomy and dark, ominous skies.
So now here's the warning in place. So now we have a severe thunderstorm warning. We're going to go ahead and look at National Weather Service and see what the primary concerns are here.
Yeah, this is why we decided to hop on Facebook Live, by the way. We saw that this storm was intensifying, and we were afraid that it may become severe warned, and there you have it. Severe thunderstorm warning issued for parts of Bandera and Kerr counties.
So we know that this storm is radar indicated, quarter-size hail being the primary concern here, and it's moving east at 35 miles per hour. Glad that we know that, because we can actually put a tracker on this and show you, how fast it's going to move toward the Bandera area.
Yeah, and Tim and Nadine have asked, how about Bernie? Bernie is in the path of this. Even though you're not in a severe thunderstorm warning, you may experience this storm as time goes along here. So
we're looking about 229 in Bandera, and of course you have to take into account that that's if this storm stays together. Over the past hour or so, we've seen a lot of fluctuations with storm intensity. Sometimes the hill core will be very small, then it's very big again, and that's these updated radar scans that'll come in about every 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, and something good to know too, today school is in session. So you may want to call your son or daughter if they may be going to Bandera High School or maybe out towards Bernie Middle School North, because around the time when school gets out, this severe thunderstorm warning could be passing through that region. And if they are old enough to drive, you may want to let them know, hey, you may want to hold off before you leave. Let these showers and storms pass through, and then you can go ahead and head home. And then that goes for out towards, Bernie, 303. We had the question, what about Bernie? Well, at 3 p.m., you could be experiencing the possibility of some hail, some strong winds.
And we probably have parents already starting to line up at schools, too. So that's something to keep in mind. Stay in the car. Make sure the kiddos know, hey, lightning's going to be out there. And to not stay in it too long. But we do have this warning in place through 2:45 p.m. with the primary concern being quarter-size hail. And this is kind of a look at the tracking here. We know that storm is moving east at about 35 miles per hour. It's been a slow mover, so it is going to produce maybe some flash flooding as well.
Yeah, and if you get any reports of hail, if you see any yourself, if it's safe for you to take a photo of it, send it to us here at Kent's 5. Ground reports are always so important whenever we're talking about strong or severe storms. Of course, safety comes first, though. Always stay safe whenever you're doing it. If you know anybody out on the roadways, maybe headed to pick up their kids from school right now, go ahead and give them a phone call, make sure that they know this is happening, and then tell them to tune into the Facebook Live. We're going to be staying on this and keeping you updated on the Facebook Live throughout this severe thunderstorm warning, and more than likely beyond it as well. As long as this warning is issued and as long as we believe there could be a threat, we'll be on. That's the reason we got on before the severe thunderstorm warning was even issued, because we felt like there could be a threat, and we'll be staying on and keeping you updated here.
And we have a lot of folks asking about Bernie. We're starting to get a little bit more populated areas once we get into Bernie. One thing I want to do is pause this, erase all this stuff, and show a reference of where San Antonio is on this map, because there is a lot going on, and we do see this storm starting to move into northwestern parts of Bandera County. So you think about that, that's a really far distance from San Antonio, and to be honest, with the track of this storm, since it is moving east, it doesn't look like it's going to make it into the city whatsoever.
Yeah, it looks like it'll stay north, hit Bernie possibly, and then cross at 281, even north of Hollywood Park, and then head towards New Braunfels. Now, that's a long way for this storm to have to hold together. So New Braunfels, Bernie, don't worry too much just yet, but keep an eye on this. Right now, within the severe thunderstorm warning, we do have Bandera. Parts of, I believe that's 173 that goes north of Bandera. I'm still learning my roads. I am newer here to South Texas, so I'm trying to get a good idea.
It's about 30 miles west northwest of Bandera, too.
So there you go. But a lot of lightning with this. We don't have lightning turned on right now. That is something that we kind of keep an eye on. If we see a lot of lightning, that typically means that we have a strong updraft, which means the storm is still intensifying. So we do have still an intensifying storm out there. It's not falling apart yet, but it does have that possibility of doing it along over time. So.
And I'm looking at the hail tracker. It looks like it's maybe had some history. Once it entered Bandera County, it looks like it may have produced. Of course, this is radar estimated quarter-size hail, which was the primary concern, but now it's dropped back down to pea size. But like we were saying, you're going to get those scans every 5 minutes or so, and you know the intensity of the storm can often change within those radar scans.
Yeah, and right now it's in more of a rural area. You see it's really south of Highway 39, but oh yeah, we don't have the crawl up. Yeah, Weather Chief Bill Taylor in the house. He, while we're in here covering this, he's covering everything behind the scenes, and he's going to make sure everything's up on the.
He's running around the newsroom.
He's running around the newsroom, gathering information. Of course, getting everything ready for TV in case we do need to cut in on TV. So right now, you know, just keeping a close eye on this. More in a rural area, heading towards Highway 16, and then eventually going to make its way across 173. So right now this is in that rural area. This was the point I was trying to get to a moment ago, sorry. But it is going to be crossing some highways where people could be traveling. So make sure that you go ahead and get to a safe spot if you're in those areas. There are some camping areas out that way.
Hopefully no one's caught in it.
Yeah, if you know anybody who may be out there camping, I know it is a Monday, so a lot of people may not be out there, but let them know. You don't want to be out there when hail's sitting at the top of your tent. That's a dangerous situation. Always want to get to that sturdy structure. Severe thunderstorm warnings can be just as dangerous as tornado warnings. So not saying this one is, but it's just it's always good to make sure you get into a sturdy structure if we're experiencing a severe thunderstorm warning.
So I'm putting local storm reports on. I'm not seeing any local storm reports of hail. Of course, this is a radar indicated hail-producing thunderstorm, hence why the National Weather Service went ahead and issued the severe thunderstorm warning through 2:45 p.m. This doesn't include Bernie, and I know a lot of you are commenting saying, hey, how's Bernie looking? Are we going to see this storm? It just depends if it stays together. We still have the ingredients in place to support some strong to severe storms. We're watching that cold front move through. Of course, let's look at temperatures too.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know where this cold front is currently. So it's right on the fringe there.
Yeah, so this storm is kind of riding, or it's just riding north of the cold front. So.
And we have dew points. This shows us, where that humid air is.
Oh, yeah.
So it's still pretty humid up closer to Bernie. They're in the upper 50s, but much drier over Rock Springs and Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
So that tells me that cooler and drier air is slowly starting to work its way into South Texas.
Yeah. So you can see that the temperatures behind this front definitely way cooler. There's the mid-80s down towards Beeville, Georgia West, compared to the 50s in Fredericksburg and 40s. Yeah, 48 in Rock Springs. But yeah, that's this front is kind of the spark that's kind of getting this severe weather risk going for us. So why we've been talking about this marginal risk for the past couple of days.
Exactly, and then up to a level 2 slight risk over parts of East Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. For those travelers that are curious about storms around Texas, this is kind of that, overall today's severe weather outlook.
Yeah.
Let's get back to that severe thunderstorm warning in place. This is the only severe storm we have in South Texas, by the way.
Yeah, and with a marginal risk, that's typical. You don't get a ton of severe weather, but you do have that possibility of having 1 or 2 strong to severe storms. And that's what we were expecting today. Well, that's what you get with a marginal risk. Whenever your risk get higher to a level 2 or a level 3, what we call slight and enhanced, that's when you start to see more widespread severe weather. But this being a marginal risk, you usually get just about 1 or 2 storms like what we have on the screen right now.
So we did mention that the higher severe threat will be over the hill country in northern counties.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're seeing today. You know, last night I was tracking the front, and it even brought a wintry mix over parts of West Texas and the Panhandle.
Yeah, and I see Joanna says, I want Bill Taylor back. Don't worry, Joanna. He is in the house, and he's handling a few things behind the scene and also keeping an eye on the storms in the Weather Center. And it's important that we have someone in the Weather Center because if a tornado warning to be issued, which we don't expect right now, but Bill would hop on TV, of course, and handle it. And he's also making sure the crawl is up. So
we
Bill
just
is
had
in the house, though.
Yes, and we just had a new radar scan, and I want to point something out that the hill core has gotten a little bit bigger here.
Okay.
So what that tells me is that this warning will remain in place. It's possible that some folks out there are probably seeing up to quarter-size hail at this point. And when we say hail core, we're really watching the bright purples to the bright pinks, the middle of that storm. But like you said, no tornado threat. We're not looking at that right now. It's mainly just a hail threat.
Yeah. And this is going to pass pretty close to Bandera. It's going to hit on that north side of town.
We'll go ahead
right
and
there
put
on 173.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and put a tracker on this, and we'll also see.
There could also be some strong winds with this that just passed near the community of Vanderpool. So if you know anybody near Vanderpool, you might want to check on them. They could have had some strong winds. At Medina, there could be some strong winds as well. I'm actually pulling up everything here that I'm naming off on Google Maps, or Apple Maps, rather. Sometimes it's best whenever you don't always know the road that's right next to you. I always tell those people, some people don't know the road that's 2 streets over, and if we name that street, you would say, I don't know where that is, but sometimes it's better when you can name businesses. So I'm going to see what I can do about pulling that up.
So we'll probably look in downtown Bandera then, and that it should arrive in Bandera about, give or take a few minutes, but around 2:30. Bandera High School about 2:30, so that's when pretty much the buses start getting ready to go and get the kiddos and all of that. We also have Pipe Creek around 2:40. And it's possible that we could get very large hail with this storm or a lot of small hail. And that's what we're looking at mainly in the core of this storm.
Yeah.
But through the previous updates, this hail core has been pretty big. It's kind of gained size a little bit. It's gotten a little bit larger.
So I'm still pulling this up. Sorry, my internet's a little slow right now. But yeah, there's not a whole lot out there where the storm is at right now. So I would not be surprised if we didn't get much of any storm reports, at least until this storm hits Highway 16. Then maybe we'll start to get a little bit more from it. That would be a good point as to why we're not getting the storm reports right now, though. We do have a little bit of rain over parts of San Antonio. It's not a ton, but we are going to continue to have that chance for rain and even some storms. And we could see more storms form. If we could zoom out just a little bit, Megan, and see what's going on right through this area. Go ahead and put it into play for me. So north of Uvalde, it looks like just plain old rain, but that area north of Uvalde, that could be where we could see more storms try to develop and shift off to the east. So that's what we're going to be watching for. As this cold front moves further south, we could see a little bit more kick up of the shower and storm activity, and we could see a few more storms develop. But right now it's just this lone storm that we're keeping an eye on, and it looks like we could have a little bit of it moving up into Kerrville. So,
and it's a lot cooler up there compared to what it is, let's say, in Tilden and Cotulla.
Oh, yeah.
That cold front hasn't quite made it to Pleasanton or even downtown San Antonio for that matter. So temperatures are expected to fall during the day. And with that, I think our severe weather threat will also fall, especially this evening, since we'll have that cold front move through. We'll have the cooler and drier air, so not as humid. So a very low severe weather threat this evening.
Yeah, so yeah, and that's the good news. Like, this isn't going to be something that we deal with for days. The only severe weather risk we have right now is for today. and it's expected to go down into tonight, but we aren't expected to see the rain go away. We're still going to have rain. So
we can show you the rain timeline too.
Yeah, I mean, let's show that. It's a lot of it.
Yes, and the heaviest rain coverage we'll see will be Tuesday evening into Wednesday morning. But I don't expect it to rain even all day Wednesday. I think most of that rain should be out of our hair early in the day on Wednesday, and then clearing expected Wednesday afternoon. And that's going to help us warm back up a little bit into the 60s.
Yeah, and let's see if we can bring up Timecast too to show where this rain is going to go, because I know a lot of people are trying to plan their evening commute, and it may help if they can see when showers and storms may approach a certain area. Unfortunately, Timecast has not been handling this very well, at least for what we have this afternoon.
No, honestly, I don't even think it's worth showing because it hasn't handled it very well.
Yeah,
I just think just on and off scattered showers and storms as that front's moving through, it's just going to push it in our direction.
Yeah, and we talked about this. We watch weather models. As meteorologists, we watch different weather models and we try to figure out which one is right. Sometimes they're all wrong. Right now, none of them are picking up on this storm that's up in Bandera and Kerr counties. So right now they're all wrong, and it's important to we still, even though all the models were trying to back off on the thunderstorm
they'll flip-flop a lot.
Yeah.
They were handling it pretty well, I'd say, keeping most of that storm activity last night when we were doing the 10 to 11 p.m. newscast Sunday evening. So it was handling it well then, but the newest weather model updates came out, and all of a sudden it's just not handling it well.
Yet, even though it said that we weren't going to get as much, we still held true to this forecast because we felt like that was going to happen. That's where our roles as a meteorologist step in. Computers can be difficult, so it's important to understand that whenever you get a bad model run in, you identify it. That's why we said we're still going to have that threat for strong storms today, and while we're tracking this severe thunderstorm up towards Kerr and Bandera counties.
So let's look at some of these comments. Trish Danielle says, I love when it rains, LOL. Same, I love thunder in my opinion.
I love it, but as long as we can get it without the severe.
Exactly,
part.
Yeah. Anne says, it was very humid this morning, ready for some drier air. It should be a lot drier tomorrow. Robert, is it coming through Helotes? Hard to say. I think it may, at this point on the track, if it stays on this track and it continues to move east, I think it will stay north of Helotes.
Yeah, I agree. So, I see Ann also says it's sunny out here in Somerset. It is, is the daytime heating going to increase? The chance of storms, no cold front here yet either. Not really so much on the daytime heating today that's increasing the thunderstorm activity. It's really this front that's causing a lot of the lift. So
right, and we'll just have to watch our environment to see if conditions are favorable to support some even stronger storms later on today.
Yeah.
But we do have this severe thunderstorm warning in place through 2:45. For those just coming in onto our Facebook Live, we do have this storm in place because the primary concern being quarter-size hail. It's a slow mover. It's only moving east at about 35 miles per hour. So I'd say could get some flash flooding, especially in low-lying areas. I mean, that's intense rain to me. You're either getting large hail or you're getting a lot of little hail, if that makes sense. But quarter-size hail being, the biggest size there, which is 1 inch in diameter.
Yeah, and meteorologist Meagan Massey actually has a piece that's going to air tonight at 5 o'clock talking a little bit about what the radar does, because it can bounce waves off of these storms, and it picks up on either these large objects or lots of small objects altogether.
So you send out these signals, and if something is in that signal's path, it's going to reflect back to radar. But I'll talk about all that fun stuff in the 5 o'clock
Yeah,
newscast.
It'll be in the 5 o'clock
We don't want to give it
newscast,
away,
yeah.
but we'll talk about how radar works. Key update here is that the National Weather Service has trimmed back on this warning just a little bit. It's still in place through 2:45. Let's see the motion on this.
Yeah, in the Vanderpool community, you're no longer included in a severe thunderstorm warning, so you are outside of it. And I know there's a few Medina communities around here. I'm referring to the Medina community that is in Bandera County. So I noticed that there's one there, and I said, wait, that's not where Medina is. And there's a few Medina communities. So we're talking about the one east of Vanderpool in Bandera County.
Right, so if we put a tracker here on it. So it's still moving east at 35 miles per hour. So still a slow mover. This warning still does not include Bernie, but we're going to go ahead and put Bernie in the path.
You can go ahead and click that eraser.
Okay.
It may knock it off the screen. There we go.
Cool. So let's zoom out just a little bit and put a tracker. Yeah, so we're looking at Pipe Creek around 2:50, so just before 3 o'clock.
Yes, probably still at Bernie, right on the doorstep of Bernie at 3 p.m. So that's what you really got to look out for. And you know, again, if you have your kids out in school, let them know if they're driving now. Let them know to hold back on leaving. It looks like we got more lightning now.
It definitely looks that way.
Which
and we
means
can
the storm
also
could be intensifying.
We can also see, you know, the amount of lightning within this storm too. A lot of lightning strikes though, and that's something you really want to watch out for. So about 38, 40 lightning strikes.
Yeah, and that's in the past 15 minutes.
So we had a newest scan, and it still looks like it's a pretty large storm. In fact, it looks like the intensity of rain has started to move a little bit north there in Kerr County.
Yeah. And, I mean, still, even if you don't see any hail with this, which is the reason for the severe thunderstorm warning from the National Weather Service, you're at least seeing a lot of heavy rain. If we're seeing pink on the radar, that at least means we're seeing heavy rain, and that could lead to isolated flash flooding. We're not talking about a large flooding scale, but isolated areas could see some flash flooding. We could be talking about some major ponding, and I believe that's Highway 16, right? That goes right there between Kerrville and Bandera west of 173, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
Deborah says hi
16.
from New Braunfels. Yolanda says thank you. You're welcome. And Ann says that pink hill core still looks pretty impressive. I agree, especially within the last, I'd say, 6 radar scans or so.
And let's see after they trimmed back this warning. Let's see if they included any more information. If they've says hail up to 1 inch possible. So
That's still quarter size.
Still quarter size, and winds less than 50 miles per hour. So not so much on the wind as a big danger, but hail could be a bit of a risk. And then wind-blown hail. You have to think about that. If you have 45 mile per hour winds blowing quarter-size hail, that could break some windows.
And let's look at the history. So we have hail tracker on, and this kind of gives us, you know, radar estimated look at, you know, what hail size this storm is producing.
Yeah.
And so far, it's just showing, you know, nickel, mostly pea-size hail, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of it falling. You know, sometimes that's what the hail core and that bright pink just means, hey, you know, there's a lot of hail falling, or it's a bigger size too.
And this is going to go right over Medina High School. That's where it looks like it's going to go over when it passes Highway 16. So we have Medina High School there, Broadway Street, which is Highway 16. A place called the Apple Store is in the path of this. Just a few spots to name off. The Circle R Resort Ranch Airport. So I hope the planes are all inside, somewhere safe, because it will be strong winds and also going to have that possibility for some hail. There's another airport here, the Cinco B Ranch Airport, so a few ranch airports. Just a few spots out ahead of this. Trying to see what other, there's a Family Dollar there.
Is New Braunfels in the path? Hard to tell from the map. So what we'll do here is we'll zoom out here a little bit, just so you can reference. There's San Antonio. There's Fair Oaks Ranch, which is the northern tier of Bexar County. You have Bandera, which is included in that severe thunderstorm warning. We'll loop it. It looks like it's on an east-northeasterly track. Right now, I don't even see it going toward New Braunfels. We just have to really watch the track of this.
Yeah, it may kind of hug right there on that Bandera-Kerr County line. So it may even pass north of Bandera. It's hard to tell right now, but one thing that we know, it is going to pass right there by Medina High School. So keep on the lookout for that. School's about to let out. There could be a few seniors. I know some schools, the seniors can get out earlier. It's 2 o'clock. It's right on your doorstep, and it would be better to just kind of wait to get out on Highway 16 if you have anywhere to go.
And by the way, this is the only severe storm in our entire viewing area. You know, that's where that marginal risk in place, that level 1 And primary concerns, again, being just the quarter-size hail, strong wind gusts, and some localized flooding. This is a slow-moving storm. It's only moving about 35 miles per hour to the east.
Yeah.
So it's dumping some heavy rain, likely a lot of hail or large sizes. In fact, I want to see local storm reports. We haven't gotten any.
Yeah, the problem is this storm is over a really rural area right now. We may get some storm reports in once it moves over Medina High School in that area. But honestly, then it moves over a more rural area again, and typically you don't get as many storm reports whenever it's in a more rural area because not as many people experience storms. That's actually something that, as a meteorology community, you hear more reports of tornadoes these days, and it's because there's more people in places to identify them. And Amanda says, will this hold together to New Braunfels, Canyon Lake? We mentioned that a moment ago. It's hard to tell if it'll hold together to New Braunfels. Right now, you are not under severe thunderstorm warning, nor is Canyon Lake. I think this storm may pass north of New Braunfels, but it's still too early to tell. Canyon Lake, though, you know, it's a little northwest of New Braunfels, and it could get close to the Canyon Lake area, but still very far away. That could be another hour and a half before that gets there. And
you know, I could see the path of the storm changing just a little bit because that cold front is moving through. It's a lot cooler over the hill country. You know, Pleasanton's going to be a lot warmer than Kerrville. We already had upper 40s in Rock Springs. We just showed those temperatures. In fact, we can show it again. And so that may be why they curve the warning a little bit to the east-southeast, because that front's moving through and it may shove it down just a little bit. It's definitely something we'll keep our eyes on, though. So let's look at where that front is currently. I mean, you could kind of see the contrast there.
It looks like it just hit Seguin. Check that out, 56 compared to 76 in Floresville. 55 in Bernie compared to the 81 in Pleasanton. I mean, it's slicing through South Texas right now.
87 in George West, too. Yeah, so some of us just a few degrees from 90, which has definitely been a trend these last couple of days.
Yep.
And dew points, you can see the drier air starting to work its way in over northern counties. That includes Austin and to Fredericksburg, also Rock Springs. They have dew points in the 40s. That just means the drier the air. And then we, of course, have more humidity to the south.
Yeah. And let's bring up, do the tower cam showing anything right now? It's at the top left here.
Okay. Look at tower cams.
We got some dark clouds moving over northwest San Antonio at the moment. Not really having anything other than a little bit of rain over San Antonio. Nothing severe. I've seen people asking about Bexar County. Bexar County isn't expected to experience this severe thunderstorm warning. It's expected to stay north. Maybe clip the northern edge of Bexar County, but not really going to get too close to San Antonio. So now, I'm not saying that another storm couldn't develop and then move close to San Antonio, but right now that does not appear to be an issue. Just that severe thunderstorm warning in Bandera and Kerr counties.
And it looks like you have some low-hanging clouds. I'm looking over here at what we're showing on screen, and it definitely looks like some low-hanging clouds over downtown.
Yeah.
But we don't have a severe thunderstorm over San Antonio. It's to our west-northwest.
Just plain old rain over San Antonio, parts of San Antonio. Really, it looks like not everybody's seeing it. Maybe more of just a drizzle at the moment. So.
And I'm curious to see if maybe this is changing its direction a little bit. Any new comments?
Carlos said, when will it hit Laredo? Carlos, it looks like Laredo will be not having any issue with the severe weather today. In Laredo, you may get a brief shower, I guess, but really not expecting anything in the way of storms today for Laredo. All these storms will be well to your north. So we have the, could we bring up the Storm Prediction Center again?
Yes, the
severe weather outlook. There you see it. Oh, and you know they just actually moved it. Did you? If you watched earlier on, you would have seen that it was all the way over to Del Rio. Now the reason why they've taken this area of marginal risk and shifted it off to the east is because the severe weather threat is over for that area. Much like how they trimmed back that severe thunderstorm warning to not include certain areas because the threat was over. The Storm Prediction Center will trim back the marginal risk once the severe weather risk is over. So, over towards Rock Springs, they're done. But you see the marginal risk still continues for parts of San Antonio, parts of Bexar
So that's still
County.
downtown. We still have the threat that exists.
Kerr County, Gillespie County, Bandera County, all still under that marginal risk for severe weather.
Any new comments that you're seeing or reports of anything?
I didn't see much of any new comments. We do have, this storm is about to pass over Medina. If you want to pull that up again, go ahead and pull up the SPC explainer. That's a good idea.
I was going to show you guys, what the difference was between a marginal all the way up to a high risk. So today we have a marginal risk in place. That just means some isolated, these pop-up little thunderstorms may turn severe. We have our environment that's favorable to support some of these strong to severe storms, and they're limited in duration and or coverage and also intensity. Once you get up to that level 2, which is in place for Louisiana, Mississippi, they're looking at more scattered severe storms. So that means, more coverage, more severe storms that'll pop up in one area. So that's kind of, just the differences there between the level 1 marginal risk and also that level 2 slight risk in place.
Yeah, and this is a textbook marginal risk day for us. We have one severe thunderstorm. That's pretty much textbook. If we had 4 or 5 severe thunderstorms on the screen at once, that would be definitely not a high risk, but a higher risk than a marginal risk. So that's why we only have this one severe thunderstorm that we're watching closely and keeping you updated on. When we're staying on this, as long as this is out there, it's crossing Highway 16. Right now, it should be right over Medina High School. And it's going to continue off to the east and eventually pass Highway 173. I'll go ahead and see what we have over 173 in that area to give you an idea, because, again, I mentioned it earlier, sometimes you don't know the road names around you. It's always good to know them, but you usually know the businesses that are nearby or sometimes the high schools that are nearby.
Right, and this is the last hour scan, and so we're looking at the last hour with this storm, and it showed the hail core just lasting that long too. So it's a pretty powerful storm. If you're in Bernie, I would definitely watch this storm at this point, and I know a lot of folks were asking about, Bernie ? I would watch this storm at this point.
So it looks like, as it continues off to the east, it will get closer to the Camp Verde General Store. And I feel like if you live out there, you would know where that is. That's one of those, it looks like a mom and pop type place that real local owned. But if you know where the Camp Verde General Store is, they're along Bandera Highway, which is Highway 173. That's where this storm will be heading towards, giving the possibility for some damaging hail and also some strong winds.
So let's go ahead and put another tracker on this just so we can see, where the storm is headed, what people can expect, because I know we're starting to get into the mid-afternoon hours and you may have some errands to run. So that's, of course, if this storm stays together, kind of map it out to the east. And I am going to scoot this over just a little bit here.
So there you see 308 at Bernie. So that's Bernie Middle School North at 307. Those are a few spots that we may have some people at. 237 could be near Bandera High School. Now, I think, for the most part, this storm will stay fairly north of Bandera, and I think the bottom edge of it could clip Bandera itself. So the southern edge of it could clip the northern edge of Bandera, rather. And that could be where Bandera High School is. And you see the timeline there, 236, 237. That's right around the time when a lot of schools will be trying to wrap it up for the day. Maybe there could be some after-school outdoor activities. Not the best time to have outdoor activities after school. And
especially with the lightning.
Yeah, with the lightning.
Yeah, so still producing a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes.
And you see some of those lightning strikes outside of the storm.
They're behind a little bit, too.
Yeah. That's something that you always have to look out for, because sometimes lightning can strike well away from a storm, especially when we have drier air. Today, not as much in the way of drier air, but when you have drier air, sometimes those lightning strikes can really get far away from the storm.
I think so, too. Any comments? Smithson Valley area, and what about Converse? I think a lot of this is going to stay north of San Antonio, to overall, answer those questions.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a little bit of heavier rain still possible later on today, and that could impact your evening commute in Bandera County, in Bexar County. As we make our way into the evening commute hours. We could have some of these heavier showers move in, not necessarily this storm, but to the south of it, we may have a few more showers develop as that cold front tries to dip further down to the south. So.
And one little update here is, the Storm Prediction Center, they're not expecting to issue any type of watch. So we're not going to see a tornado watch. We definitely don't have that potential, but also no severe thunderstorm watch.
Yeah, and I'm going ahead and checking on Twitter here as well. We are live on Twitter and Periscope.
Yes.
We're live not just here on Facebook. We're live on Twitter and Periscope. We're live on YouTube. We are live on the website. We're live on the app. We are live everywhere. So if you don't follow
subscribe, like, follow us. Is that it? I think that's it. Download us.
Yeah, download us. Let me pull up Texas weather real quick. Sometimes I like to try to see if there's any updates coming in on Twitter.
So here's what we know about this storm. While he's doing that, we know that cloud-to-ground lightning is obviously going to be a big threat. That pink core, that's basically the reason why this severe thunderstorm warning was issued. We just had another radar scan. It's still holding pretty strong here. And what that's telling us either is that the hailstone itself is really large, or this storm may be producing a lot of hailstones. So that's why that severe thunderstorm warning has been in place through 2:45. And for those just joining us, the storm is moving east at about 35 miles per hour. In the next several minutes or so, I could definitely see the National Weather Service trimming back on Bandera County with this warning, kind of focusing more on this thunderstorm, but maybe even possibly extending this warning. I mean, we've looked at the last hour, scan here and the evolution of this storm, and it's hold pretty strong.
Yeah, and I think if they get any reports out of Medina, if they hear any reports from the emergency manager's office there in Bandera County of any large hail, then I'm sure that they would extend it. But if the emergency manager tells them, no, we didn't get any reports, they may even just say, well, we're going to let the warning expire unless they start getting some reports in. So it's kind of tricky. The National Weather Service likes to get reports in so that they can extend the warning. They rely on ground reports from people. And if they don't get any, they may say, maybe we don't really have a severe thunderstorm warning here, but we definitely have some returns from the radar that are letting us know, there's that possibility for quarter-size hail, and there's that possibility for some really strong winds.
Yeah, I mean, these signals that the radar is receiving, it's saying, hey, large raindrops and or large hailstones, so just heads up that this is a radar-indicated storm and that this could likely produce some pockets of blinding rain. We could definitely see that, especially with the colors, that reflectivity within this storm, but also the hail core.
Yeah. I mean, we do have a little bit of hail possible with that. There's the screen up full, the radar up full, and you see up towards Fredericksburg, Johnson City, we have some light to moderate showers, and you see that down towards Utopia as well. New Braunfels, Seguin, seeing a little bit of rain. So if we want to drag that over to the right, you can see a little bit of that rain as well, kind of stretching over towards Gonzales. Gonzales currently experiencing rain. They have it up towards Bastrop, which is more up towards our friends up in Austin. I-35 not too wet right now. But during the evening commute, I-35 is going to be wet, I think. And I think I-35 is also going to have rain falling. So that's important to know. If you have any friends or family who travel I-35 as their commute, they could be experiencing some heavy rain, and we'll have to watch that area for the possibility of accidents. Hopefully none, but it definitely could be a spot where people could run into a little bit of trouble this afternoon.
And also, if maybe someone's driving northbound or even southbound on 281, they're probably looking toward Bandera and seeing some pretty dark clouds right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I do think, this does look like it will pass very close to Canyon Lake. So we had that question about it earlier, if it holds together, that is. It still has to hold together.
There's a long way to go.
Let's see what questions we have coming in. Will Helotes be getting any of that thunderstorm? Dawn, I think it'll stay just to the north of you. Ann says, thanks for keeping us informed. No problem. She says, live everywhere. Roy says, have you hugged your wild hog trapper today? Roy, I have not, but I have had some pork today. So there you go. I guess I'm thankful for my hog trappers, but no, I have not hugged my wild hog trapper today. So.
I am going to look at the last hour scan here. Of course, we have that front moving through, and you can definitely tell, especially with how it feels outside. It's much cooler over Kerrville, also Bernie, a little bit cooler with for you in the upper 50s, some in the low and mid 50s right now. But, you know, we're watching that front to see if it's going to nudge this storm to the south-southeast just a little bit. And so that's kind of why we're staying on, just to see, you know, the evolution of this storm. We'll stay on, of course, until this morning is expired, and it runs through 2:45.
Yeah, and you know, zoom back down into that, because it looks like Kerr County is getting a little bit higher amounts of reflectivity in there on the radar. We could be seeing some heavier rain, possibly even some hail there in southern Kerr County, where the storm looks like it's kind of grown off to the northern edge there. I want to make sure I'm not standing on my wire, but let's zoom down into that a bit. So Kerrville may experience a little bit of small hail, even though you're right outside of this severe thunderstorm warning. Highway 173 and Highway 16, right near where they meet in Kerrville, just south of there. Looks like there could be some heavy rain moving through that area.
So it's mostly south of Kerrville. You know, Kerrville's definitely receiving some moderate to heavy rain right now, but of course the heaviest stuff starting to move toward Bandera. And you know, the last radar scans, the hail core still there, but it's not quite as large as what it was, let's say, you know, 15, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, and you know, in Comfort, I know we got a lot of viewers out in Comfort there along I-10. You could experience a little bit of small hail yourself. Now, we're not talking about the quarter-size hail. That's going to stay to your south. But in Comfort, they could experience some very small hail and possibly some very heavy rain and also lightning.
And this warning, by the way, does not include Bernie. It does not include, you know, Helotes, Timberwood Park, Hollywood Park, none of Bexar County. In fact, it's only for a little sliver of Kerr County and most of Bandera County.
Yeah, and still until 2:45. So if you're just now joining us and you're wondering what's going on, what we're talking about here, there's a severe thunderstorm warning in place for the possibility of quarter-size hail and some strong winds moving through Bandera and Kerr counties. It's until 2:45. The National Weather Service just actually
So they
updated.
trimmed it back a little bit.
Yeah.
So now they're focusing on communities ahead of this storm rather than behind.
Right. And let's go ahead and see if they've added any more information to what they, to the text.
So quarter-size hail, still radar indicated, and damage to vehicles possible.
Yeah. And this is Pipe Creek, Bandera Falls, Kronkosky State Natural Area, and Lake Hills. I may have said that wrong, but I believe it's Kronkosky or Kronkosky. But State Natural Area is included in this. So.
And the warning goes through 2:45 still.
Yeah.
And the main thing is it still hasn't made its way east. They haven't extended it east. They've just kept it in that same spot, but just trimmed it back as the storm has moved more toward areas.
Yeah. And still just kind of riding that Bandera-Kerr County line. Still expecting rain. You notice some rain picking up ahead of this. Now, we're not expecting any thunderstorms to develop ahead of this, but you see some rain developing ahead of this closer on towards Helotes and Lake Hills. We are going to have some rain again for that evening commute. Right now, a lot of roads are dry. You see that just below us. A lot of cars out there on some of the highways around San Antonio. But I do expect it to be wet out there for your evening commute. So not everywhere you go, but parts of San Antonio will be having rain. And we will have some wet roads in parts of the city during the evening commute.
So let's see, what time? 2:25, so about 3 o'clock-ish to Bernie Middle School North, and then about 3:10 in Bernie.
Yeah.
And then you have Scenic Oaks right around 3:15. So you were just talking about the rain, especially near Utopia into western parts of Bandera County. A few pockets of moderate up to heavy rain there. So that stuff may move, you know, toward Lake Hills and over Helotes.
Yeah.
But we're not looking at, you know, severe storms right now for those areas.
Yeah, still the only severe thunderstorm that we're talking about on radar for our area is in Bandera and Kerr County. And let's go ahead and zoom this out. Let's also talk about how much rain we're expecting over these next few days. You know, we're expecting a lot. Let's go ahead and bring up the QPF for QPF graphic that we have.
So QPF is basically the forecast rainfall totals. It won't be exact amounts, but it will be pretty close to it. We were looking at 1 to 3 inches of rain for most of South Texas, and that's definitely what we're looking at from now all the way through Wednesday.
Yeah, let's zoom out. Let's show, you know, this system isn't just impacting us. It's actually impacting a lot of Texas and the Southeast. Check out how much rain they could expect in East Texas, closer on towards Tyler. They could see up to 5 inches. And then look further even off to the east. You see Louisiana, Mississippi. Mississippi actually right now has a lot of rivers in flood. And they're expecting 7 inches. Right now they have a lot of heavy rain falling there now. They're expecting a lot more. I don't know if y'all saw the video from Gatlinburg, Tennessee, up in the Smoky Mountains.
Yes, that was crazy.
And there's a big issue right now because all this heavy rain is heading towards their direction. The same system that's impacting us is going to be impacting them, bringing heavy rain, and it could lead to some major flooding issues for our friends well off to the east in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee.
So we have this cold front that's going to bring heavy rain now, but we also are watching a second disturbance. This is an upper level disturbance just south of California. So this is right around Baja, California. It's going to move just south of the Four Corners and then right over Texas, and that's also going to bring heavy rain. So the rainfall totals that we showed you, that's over the next 7 days. So that's going to be through next Monday.
And by the way, you know, we are the lone severe thunderstorm warning right now. No one else has a severe thunderstorm warning in the entire Lone Star State. Just right here. There's some of the flooding in Mississippi. Man,
so
look at all those green
boxes. So they're currently looking at the heavy rain there.
Yeah, and a lot of heavy rainfall there north of the I-20 corridor in Mississippi and in Alabama as well. Meanwhile, North Texas, and we're really not North Texas, but the Panhandle.
Yeah,
Texas the Panhandle is seeing a lot in the way of snow and some frozen precipitation, which we are not expecting here.
And just west of Oklahoma City, too.
Yeah.
Now, our rainfall timeline, this is what we're looking at. Of course, you know, Bill Taylor will have more updates in the 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock newscast. So there's going to be several weather model updates that we'll receive today. So we're going to fine-tune these rain chances, fine-tune our temperatures just a little bit. But overall, right now, the highest rain coverage, a pretty good soaker, will be Tuesday night into Wednesday morning.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's when we're going to have the front move through, and then behind it, good news for Valentine's Day.
Right. It should be clearing out, and we actually have the timeline, so we'll show you Tuesday through Wednesday and what we're kind of looking at. So this is Tuesday at 6 a.m. Some of us will be waking up to wet pavement during the morning commute. On and off showers by lunchtime on Tuesday. We'll keep pretty good rain in our forecast by 6 p.m. Tuesday as well. And then now we're getting into when most of us are asleep. This is midnight on Wednesday, and that's when we're expecting to pick up that 80% chance of rain. So this is the 80% chance of rain we're talking about. May get a few rumbles of thunder. Most of these storms, I think, will be pretty elevated, so cloud-to-ground lightning, maybe some strong wind gust, and that's basically what we're looking at there, but a low severe weather threat after today. And then Wednesday, just look at that, clearing. So like I said, that 80%, that 70 to 80% we have Wednesday, that's mainly going to be early in the day, and then we'll be clearing Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and bring back radar too. So yeah, great weather by the time we head into the end of the week with drier conditions moving in. I wanted to point this out. Go ahead and turn on lightning. It looks like this storm is really starting to collapse. Now we told you that, you know, Bernie, keep on the lookout for this, but it may not even hold together by the time it gets to you. And you can see the amount of lightning in the past 15 minutes has really gone down. Look at the loop. You see it pick up there as it heads into Bandera and Kerr County, and now it's really fallen apart again. Now, sometimes these storms cycle. You'll go through a period where it's really strong, then it gets really weak, and then it gets really strong again. So we'll have to keep an eye on this to see if it does cycle through, but it kind of looks like it's falling apart.
That's good.
Yeah.
Especially since it's moving toward Bandera.
It looks like the hail core has become two and we have much less in the way of lightning, which two two things that we can use to let us know that the storm may be weakening.
And I also want to look at hail tracker just to see,
Oh,
the
wow.
history of, this hail core and what it's doing here. So of course this is radar indicated hail. So we have P up to nickel, maybe even quarter size hail moving through Bandera, kind of collapsed once it approached 16 there. And yeah, I could see them continuing this warning through 2:45, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, sometimes the National Weather Service will hold on to the warning because these storms do cycle. So
Right.
if the storm does, they don't want to get rid of the warning, then bring it back and have that risk that people may back off and say, we're good, because there's that possibility the storm could ramp up again and strengthen. But right now, we are at a weaker point of the storm. The storm has fallen apart a little bit, and we'll probably be staying on here through 2:45, just keeping you updated on this storm. And if we have to stay on longer, if there's another severe warning issued somewhere, which it does not look like that will happen right now, we'll of course stay on.
And so let's look at the last 30 minutes. So, even if the storm isn't going to stay severe warned when it approaches Bernie, just know that lightning is possible in Bernie, I'd say within the next hour or so.
Yeah.
Because this heavy rain is still going to move in your direction, just that warning isn't over Bernie.
Right, right.
Or even parts of Bexar County for that matter. So like Helotes, we had some of you asking about Helotes too. You could definitely see heavy rain, I would say, within the next 2 hours.
Yeah, heavy
possibly.
rain over Fair Oaks Ranch, heavy rain over Leon Springs possible.
Timberwood Park,
Yeah.
Hollywood Park.
And then, what that rain that's developing down to Utopia, you mentioned it earlier, that could clip Helotes, and we could have some
It could
heavy rain in
even
Helotes.
hit, downtown San Antonio.
Yeah,
and
if
we're
it,
just
if
talking
it
about the
continues
rain.
to develop south.
Yeah.
But yeah, the severe aspect of this storm has definitely fallen apart, which was the hail. Now it can still strengthen again. We've been talking about that, but right now not as strong.
And most of that hail core is now lifted north into southern Kerr County. So it's just great that they had that warning in place for them.
Yeah, let's see our 24-hour rainfall totals. Now, this is radar indicated, and whenever we have lighter rain, the radar indicated rainfall never handles it very well. So if you're like, wait a minute, I had rain today and it's not showing up on there, you likely had such a small amount that it's not picking up on the rainfall estimates because it's radar indicated. We definitely have had bigger coverage than what it's trying to show right now, though.
Definitely.
Yeah, we've
I
had,
think so.
because it rained in parts of northwest San Antonio where it's not picking up on it as much, and it's rained in parts of south San Antonio. It's rained over in Hondo earlier, and that's not showing up there. So, again, sometimes the radar indicated does not handle it as well for the rainfall totals. But you can see that some spots have seen up to half an inch today, so there are some spots that saw a good amount.
And we haven't had any local storm reports.
Yeah, none yet.
So nothing yet, but we're still watching this storm, the severe storm. So any questions that we have missed at all?
No, I haven't seen any new ones come in. Y'all, feel free to ask them. That's what we're here for. We hop on these Facebook Lives because if you have any questions, we want to answer them. We want to keep you updated on what's going on. As throughout a storm's life, we're going to do this every time. Every time we see a severe thunderstorm warning. They just canceled it.
They just canceled it. So that's
Yeah.
good. Yep, they canceled the severe thunderstorm warning for Bandera and Kerr. We're still going to watch it, though, here behind the scenes.
Yeah, so we're about to head off here. Let's go ahead and zoom it down towards Bernie just so people know where it is. Still expected to move over Bernie by about 3 o'clock. Expect the heavy rain. Nothing severe. Let's turn on lightning, too, just to get an idea of how much lightning's with it. Not as much lightning.
A lot of the lightning, too, is ahead of the main core of the
Right.
storm, too.
Right, but not as much. The storm's definitely weakened. If we think we need to get on, we were on before this severe thunderstorm warning was even issued. We will be on even before the next one's issued, more than likely. We're keeping an eye on this behind the scene, and if we feel like we got to jump back on, we will. Hope y'all have a great rest of your Monday. We're
And
watching
one
this
thing,
close.
too, if you're maybe about to head out and get the kiddos or you're wondering about the bus stop, download our KINS 5 app. We have an interactive radar, and you can keep track of this storm on the go. We also have forecast updates, forecast blogs. You'll get notified too, especially when you're looking at the radar, about any weather alerts. But of course, if there are any weather alerts, we'll likely hop back on Facebook Live for you.
Yeah, and the great thing about the KINS 5 app is that you will get an alert when we go live right here, just like what we're doing right now, and you will be able to watch us while we give you the update here. So we're not just live on Facebook right now. We're live on Twitter. We're live on YouTube. We're live on the app, and we're live on the website. So always know that we will be on this, covering it in multiple platforms, and having the app can be really useful. But for now, we're going to go ahead and sign off here. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Monday. We'll be watching this behind the scenes. Don't forget, KINS 5 is on tonight at 4, 5, 6, and 10. And Weather Chief Bill Taylor, he's on tonight giving you updates. He's been behind the scenes, kind of getting everything together for the shows this evening.
That's right.
And keeping everything up on TV with our crawl that's currently running on KINS 5. And we'll keep you updated.
And make sure to follow us on Facebook, Meteorologist, Meagan, Massey, and Andrew Wilson.
Yep, so. And then Bill Taylor as well.
Yes.
We're all on Facebook giving updates today, and on Twitter.
And we'll keep this looping for you just in case you want to watch it. But we hope you have a safe Monday.
All right, hey everybody, Meteorologist Andrew Wilson back on here. Just wanted to let y'all know we've been watching everything behind the scenes. Wanted to give a quick update here before we sign off, just to kind of show you what we're seeing out there. And you know, we're seeing a little bit of rain start to approach the city. Nothing in the way of severe weather. We haven't had anything severe since that severe thunderstorm warning expired. That was over Bandera and Kerr County. We just left this up because we wanted you to be able to still see what the radar is showing. You see that we do have some rain approaching parts of the region. You see it over towards parts of Bexar County, already seeing some heavy rainfall really off to the far west side of Bexar County, north of Highway 90 and kind of just between Highway 90 and I-10 is where we're seeing the heaviest amount of rainfall. That is going to be moving over 1604 and likely already over Helotes. So be expecting some rain to move through during the evening commute. We actually are about to sign off of here. We're going to be live, though, on KENS 5. Be sure to tune in. Stacia Wilson will have the latest on traffic throughout the city. Showed it just a moment ago. You see already some slowdowns in some spots, and this rain is just going to cause for more headaches, especially around the 1604 I-10 area as we head throughout these next really couple of minutes. And closer towards Helotes, probably going to cause some headaches as well. So we're going to go ahead and sign off here. Be sure to tune in. The 4 o'clock show starts in less than 5 minutes. Weather Chief Bill Taylor will be on to give a complete update, and then Stacia Wilson will have a complete update on the traffic as well. I hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day. I want to let you know that if the rain is really heavy and we feel like we need to sign back on here, we will be back on a Facebook Live at about 4:25, 4:30 if it warrants it. If we feel like it's really heavy rainfall and it's causing a lot of concerns around the city, we'll of course be back as we always do. So I hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day. Remember, whenever we do these lives, we're live on Facebook. We're live on the KENS 5 app. You can download that from the App Store. We're live on the website, kens5.com. We are live on Twitter, and we are live on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to us and follow us as well there on YouTube and on Twitter. So, have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll keep you updated as these showers move through South Texas. I want to zoom out real quick, though, as well, show you what we're dealing with. Nothing in the way of severe weather. Heaviest rain out there right now in South Texas is currently moving into Bexar County. If you didn't tune in earlier, we did have a severe thunderstorm warning in Bandera and Kerr counties, but that expired and the storm fell apart. So we'll keep you updated on all of this, of course, on KENS 5. Be sure to tune into that 4 o'clock newscast starting up here in just a couple minutes.